Hi guys, welcome back. I haven't filmed an advice video in a minute. Upstairs are also deciding to do home renovations right now. So if you hear any drilling, banging, hammering, please just ignore it. I haven't done this sort of video in a while just because I haven't really been feeling myself, but I'm trying to get back on it. And also, sometimes we all have bad days. One thing that's kind of helps me through those bad days is understanding that I am the beauty standard. And so are you. And we're gonna get into that. If I keep looking over here, by the way, that's just because that's where my notes are. So starting out, point number one is beauty standards have obviously changed over time. This was the body standard in the 1940s. This was the body standard in the 1960s. This was the ideal body in the 1980s. This was it in the 2000s. And this is it now. I don't know if I need to point this out, but it's not the same. It's not like it's constantly trending to be stick thin. It's constantly trending to have a big bump. Trends are always changing. By the time you've achieved that body, the body standard has changed anyway. So what is the point in chasing something that is also constantly chasing something else? You're gonna get stuck in this race where you're never gonna catch up and you're never gonna win. All you're doing by chasing this standard that is constantly running away from you is coming away from who you actually are. And by the time you're so far over here, the trend is probably exactly who you were before anyway. I'm not saying it's not normal to change. Obviously, that's a natural part of life. People change all the time. People's bodies change. People's minds change. I'm not saying that you need to feel completely comfortable in your skin. I'm a girl. I have insecurities. I have things I love about myself that someone else will hate about myself. And that is completely normal. Everyone has opinions. That doesn't mean they all matter. At the end of the day, it's your opinion on yourself that should be way more important than anyone else's opinion on you. Because if you love the way you look, you love who you are, and you carry that with confidence, that is such an attractive magnetic energy, and that's exactly what creates the beauty standard. I've said this before, I think I'm a pretty girl. Not everyone's gonna agree with me, I don't care. I like the way I look, and some things that have helped me with that is literally being bullied. When I was younger, people would like stretch their mouth out and call me fish lips because I've got naturally bigger lips. People would talk to me like this because my nose is upturned. And if you look at the trends in today's society, upturned noses, big lips, thick eyebrows, because that was another thing I was made fun of. What was trending when I was in primary school was not how I looked. Now, how I look is trending. Do you see what I'm saying? If I'd have gone, obviously I was primary school, so I couldn't go get plastic surgery. If I had gone and like changed the way I looked completely, I would then be so far away from today's beauty standard just to match someone else's opinion on me. Do you see how stupid that sounds? Obviously, that made me insanely insecure about the way I looked. Like, I used to poke my lips every morning and just go like this and try and have like naturally smaller lips. It obviously didn't work. It actually made them bigger because I was poking them and so they were swelling up. I would do exercises to like make my nose more downturned. I get these same people that bullied me 10 years ago coming up to me now, and they've got lip filler and they say they want my nose and they're gonna go to a nose surgeon and they're gonna show a reference photo of my nose. Please. Beauty standards are constantly changing, so there is no point chasing them. And someone else's opinion on you does not matter because chances are they are just deflecting. I have never in my life looked at someone in a negative way unless it was something I was self-conscious about. When I had really bad acne, I would look at other people's skin to be like, oh, mine can't be that bad. It's insecurity. And what someone thinks of you is genuinely just them being like, hey, this is what I'm insecure about, and I'm gonna tell you in a way that makes you feel bad about yourself so that I feel better about myself. It's got nothing to do with you. Like I said, the title of this video is Here's Why You're the Beauty Standard, and here's why you're the beauty standard. You will never be anyone else. I can try as hard as I want to be Kim K. Do you think I'm ever gonna be Kim K? No matter how much I change my looks, how much I change my personality, how much money I gain, where I live, no matter how I act or how close I get to it, I will never, ever be the Kim Kardashian. I will always just be myself. And the same obviously applies to you. You can try as hard as you want to be somebody else, but you're never, ever gonna be them. The only person's life that you're gonna live is obviously you. So what is the point in chasing something and feeding that insecurity and coming further and further away from yourself when if you could just sit back and be like, hey, this is who I am. This is how I look. This is what I like about myself, and this is what I don't like about myself, and I'm either gonna learn to live with it or I'm gonna change it, and I'm okay with that. That is how people set the beauty standard. And that is the most confident, attractive thing that you can do. The reason people chase the beauty standard is obviously to be more desirable, to be more attractive. People chase it based on how they want others to perceive you. I don't know if you've ever been on social media and started scrolling and seen someone and all the comments are like, oh my God, you're so pretty, you're gorgeous, I wish I looked like you. And you look at them and they're not generically pretty. They don't have that desired face or body that's trending at the minute, but because they're confident and because they're expressing themselves like they are pretty, they become attractive, they become desirable, and people then want to be them. I promise you, it's genuinely got nothing to do with the way they look. It's the way they carry themselves, and it's the confidence they hold, and it's the way they sit into themselves and act as who they are. There is nothing more attractive than being yourself, because when you're confident, you actually become magnetic. Equally, you could be the prettiest girl in the world, looks-wise, you could have a great personality, but if you're really shy and you talk negatively about yourself, and you even carry yourself like you don't want to be you don't want to be here, you carry this negative energy, and that looks unattractive. Not because you're ugly, not because of anything else, purely because of the way you carry yourself. There are so many people that are drop dead gorgeous, but because they don't lean into themselves and they're a bit insecure and they're a bit closed off, they don't come across as attractive despite how they look. Confidence is magnetic. Even if you're a shy person, if you can sit into yourself and be like, I'm shy, that's fine, I'm okay with that, and you carry yourself being okay with who you are, that is attractive. Whether you're an extrovert, whether you're an introvert, no matter who you are, if you can just sit into yourself and be like, I'm okay with who I am, and other people's opinions don't really matter to me. Obviously, they're still gonna hurt. I don't like when someone comments on my appearance. I don't like when someone comments on my personality. That's human nature. That's completely normal. However, user 67245 is probably just insecure about the exact thing that they've commented on you about. One thing I do want to point out, and I say this in a lot of my videos, confidence is attractive until you're mean. Being a bully, being horrible, being entitled and stuck up is in no way, shape or form the equivalent of confidence. That is rude, that is bullying, and it is the most unattractive thing a person can do. Again, bullies are mean. Why do you think they're mean? They're insecure. Nothing about being insecure is attractive. No matter how pretty you are, if you're a deeply insecure person, that is exactly what you're gonna mirror to the world. So if you're going around making fun of people's appearance, commenting on people's videos, nasty things, in what way do you think people are gonna look at you and think, yeah, I wanna be her, that's desirable, that's attractive, that is the ugliest person you can be? I like to say I'm a very observant person. I just went to uni for 3 years and I was surrounded by, obviously, tons of different people. Now, one of the main things I noticed is the people that were consistently nice became more physically attractive over the 3 years that I was there. Equally, the people that were horrible, the people that were rude, the people that were bullies became less and less physically attractive just because they were speaking into existence exactly how they wanted to look. If you're ugly on the inside, it is a disease. It will manifest into your physical appearance. Whereas if you're kind and you care about people and you try and bring people up, that will equally manifest into your physical appearance, making you more attractive. One thing that's not written down here, by the way, but I do just want to say, because I live alone, so I've had to deal with this a lot recently, the voice inside your head is not correct. It is just another opinion. If you sit in bed thinking, oh my God, I am so ugly, this is all people think of me, everyone can see I'm so ugly, that's not true. Equally, if I said to you right now, I have £1 million, I don't. Just because I've said it does not make it true. Maybe it will be true one day. That's why we manifest, we speak things into existence. Exactly that. You don't want to speak it into existence. The voice inside your head is just another opinion. And we are always going to be our own biggest haters, especially with social media, especially if you're a girl like me. We have to deal with a lot of beauty standards, hence this video. We have to deal with a lot of criticism, and we have to deal with a lot of social situations that we probably don't want to find ourselves in, and yet still have to somehow deal with. So just know, the voice inside your head that's saying, I'm not confident, I'm not pretty enough to do this, or I'm not talented enough for this, it is just another opinion. More likely than not, it's going to be wrong. For example, I sing. I don't think I can sing in the slightest. I don't. However, the other night I went to an open mic and I was thinking, why am I going? I can't sing. No one wants to hear me sing. I went because I was like, if I knew I couldn't sing from the bottom of my heart, there would be no desire for me to go and perform to these people. Funnily enough, what happened? I ignored the voice in my head, I went to this open mic, and they actually wouldn't allow me off the stage because they wanted me to sing another song. I got a standing ovation, and I even got invited to do a gig. I did nothing but perform 2 covers. I sang Blue Lights by Georgia Smith and Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake. And I loved it. Why? Because it just showed me that this little voice inside my head is not correct. Just because I have an opinion doesn't make it right. Equally, when someone says Trump is a great president, that's their opinion. That's not correct. In my head, it is very incorrect. Same thing. The voice in your head and the reality that you live every single day, they're not the same thing. This is just another opinion, and this is fear speaking. It's not real. I saw this TikTok, and I'm gonna do it to you right now. If you've got a voice inside your head, if you don't, because I know some people don't, I think that's pretty cool, but I have a voice inside my head. Get it to shout something right now. Say, hey. Now get it to whisper. Do you see how you control the volume of the voice in your head. Just as easily as you can change the volume, you can tell it to stop. Obviously might not last more than 2 seconds, but you can switch it off. You can say, you're wrong, shut your mouth. And I do that sometimes, and I genuinely look insane because I live alone. So I'm sure my neighbors have seen me so many times just been like, shut up. There's nobody around. And I'm just going, shut up. I'm bored, shut up. Just because it is an opinion and just because it's coming from here does not in any way make it right. If you hate your nose, someone else might love it. Like I said, what was trending 20 years ago is not trending now. And people don't all love trends. That's why we all have different opinions. If everyone had the same opinion, the world would not work. If everyone wanted to be a model, do you think we'd have doctors and nurses and lawyers? No. If everyone wanted to be a lawyer, do you think we would actually have any criminals? Do you think we'd have anything going on? No. The world doesn't work without opinions. Doesn't mean they're all correct. Again, that brings me very nicely back to that point of you are you and you are never going to be someone else. So just lean into what you like about yourself, what you like about the world, who you want to be and what you want to achieve. And as soon as you set your mind on that and what the best version of yourself would do, that is when you're sitting in that magnetic energy, and that is confident and that is attractive and that is the beauty standard. No matter what you believe in, whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whether it's science, we have developed to look how we look. We have developed to exist how we exist. They were not building houses and cameras and laptops 5,000 years ago. The world has developed to get to the point where it is now, and everything is very intentional. Think about it. Even where we grow hair on our body is very intentional. We have eyebrows and eyelashes to stop sweat getting in our eyes. Who thinks of that? Everything on our body, in our mind, is so intentional. I studied biopsychology, and genuinely I would love to do a master's in it. I think it's the most interesting topic ever. But every single part of your brain is responsible for something different. And equally, every single part of your body is responsible for something different. The way you were born, the way you look, it is intentional. I don't know if you've seen that trend on social media where it's like good features, bad facial harmony, and bad features, good facial harmony. But just because you have quote unquote good features or desirable features, that doesn't mean that you're going to have good facial harmony. It's not all necessarily going to match up and look great. That's why you see people who do get surgery and you're like, oh girl, fair enough. Again, I've got nothing against surgery. Genuinely, if it's your body, it's your face, it's your mind, do whatever you want to do and don't let anyone stop you unless it's hurting other people or hurting yourself. However, the other side of that trend is bad features. I'm doing this because I genuinely don't think there's such a thing as bad features. I think, again, the trends just change. But good facial harmony. So if you've got bad features and good facial harmony, your aesthetic overall matches, and therefore you're quote unquote physically attractive, but you won't have the desirable features. And again, if everyone looked the same, how boring would that be? You would not be able to do anything original. That's why it is so beautiful to be yourself. And like I said, I've been struggling recently. Do you think I want to be me every single day? No, I'm getting sick of it. Get me out of here, please. But equally, no one else is going to be me. No one else is going to have the brain that I have, or the thoughts that I have, or the face, or the body, or the skin, or the insecurities, or the desires and the goals and the dreams that I have. No one has that. No one will ever have that, and that is such a beautiful thing. And therefore, to me, I am the beauty standard, because I should only ever want to be the best version of myself. That should be the standard that I'm aiming for. I shouldn't want to be Bella Hadid. Bella Hadid has her own mind, her own body, her own soul. You don't know what that woman's going through, and chances are you might not even want it if you knew what she was going through. My camera storage was full, so if the angles change slightly, that'll be why. Like I said, the more you lean into yourself and you're like, okay, this is what I like about myself, this is what I'd like to change, and you focus all your attention and energy on you, that is so attractive and so magnetic. And whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, energy is magnetic. Money is an energy. Everything is an energy, and you can feel it. That's why when you have celebs walk past, they seem important because they know they're important. But not everyone that walks past and radiates that energy is a celebrity. The amount of times I walk past people in the street and they're insanely confident and they dress well and they look good and they smell good and they carry themselves well, that to me is attractive. And I'm sure the same thing happens to all the other people they walk past. Because they're sitting in themselves and they're working on themselves, that is so magnetic because all the energy is on themselves, and that is what they're attracting. As soon as you start talking positively about yourself and setting your standards and knowing what you're worth and what you deserve, and not being like, oh, I'm so ugly, I need this before I can look pretty, or I need this amount of money before anyone wants to be with me. No, you are enough exactly as you are, and again, everything about you is so intentional. Life would be so boring if we were all the same. Life would be so boring if we were all born rich, or if we were all in the same job. Everything in life is constantly changing, whether that's yourself, trends, beauty standards, or just the world around you, nothing stays the same. The only thing that stays consistent is the fact that you are you. So why would you not focus on the only thing you can control? It is so empowering when someone just wants nothing but the best for themselves. So as soon as you can sit with yourself and be like, this is who I am, this is what I want, and I want the best for me, that is when you're going to become the most attractive, best version of yourself. We're not always going to get everything we want. We're not always going to have life turn out how we want it to. Life is not meant to be that way. We're meant to go through the ups and downs. We're meant to have challenges. You would not appreciate the high moments if it wasn't for the lows. So no matter what you're going through, no matter who you are, just understand you are not the only person that has to deal with this. The people you see as really pretty, you don't know who they are. You don't know what's going through their mind, because again, you will never actually be them. The only person whose opinion, whose voice, and who you should actually really truly care about is yourself. And again, I don't mean that in a narcissistic way. I don't mean that in be self-centered and hurt other people just for your own personal gain. Absolutely not. But as soon as you value yourself and value your mental and physical well-being above others, that is the sweet spot, and that is exactly where you want to be. I'm going to leave it there because my camera does keep running out of storage. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something, and I hope it gave you some motivation just to be yourself, because I know it can be difficult sometimes. Again, I'm a girl. I live alone. I have a voice in my head. I do struggle with these things, and I do have my own struggles that none of you will ever know, and equally, I will never know your struggles. It is okay to not feel okay sometimes, and it is okay to feel insecure, and it is okay to feel like you want to be somebody else. But again, that's not going to change anything about yourself. The best thing you can do to improve these things is work on yourself, work on who you are and who you want to become, and become the best version of that. Anyway, I'm going to stop repeating myself, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you very soon. Mwah. Bye!